The galaxy had known war for centuries, and for a brief moment, it seemed the endless fighting might finally pause. Alien empires, each proud and powerful, cautiously accepted a fragile peace. Borders were redrawn, fleets returned to their stations, and diplomats spoke with careful smiles. For the first time in decades, many leaders dared to breathe easier. The humans, small in number compared to the ancient alien powers, had quietly become a force to be reckoned with. Most of the galaxy still underestimated them, but that would soon change. On the edge of known space, the humans maintained their fleets with precision and discipline. Their ships were smaller in number, but advanced in technology and cunning design. On board the flagship Resolute, Captain Aiden Core watched the sensors with calm attention. The galaxy was quiet, almost too quiet. "Captain, there is something on the long-range scans," Lieutenant Sarah spoke, her voice steady but tinged with unease. "It's unusual. Massive, but cloaked. I can't get a clear reading." Aiden leaned closer to the glowing console. "Show me everything," he said. The crew adjusted their instruments, sending waves of energy scans toward the shadow in space. Nothing returned. The signal remained elusive, like a phantom moving through the dark. Across the galaxy, other fleets detected anomalies too. Alien admirals squinted at their screens, shaking their heads in disbelief. "It's too big to be a stealth scout," one muttered. "And too fast to be a normal ship. What is it?" No one had an answer. The human dreadnoughts, even the largest, were considered myths by some of the older empires. Rumors of ships capable of destruction beyond imagination circulated for decades, but few believed them. Now, it seemed those rumors might be true. Back on Resolute, Aiden's calm eyes scanned the dark expanse. "Keep tracking it. Do not engage unless it shows hostility." His voice carried authority, yet a quiet tension lingered. Humans were patient, and patient could be deadly. The cloaked ship moved steadily toward the neutral sector, a region carefully maintained by interstellar treaties. Its size was unimaginable, even to veteran commanders. Sensors strained to measure its mass, its speed, and its energy output, but the readings kept shifting, refusing to stabilize. Alien fleets grew restless. They communicated in rapid bursts, strategizing, speculating, panicking. "We should intercept it," one admiral demanded. "We cannot allow a ship of that scale to approach." Others hesitated. They had heard whispers of human cunning, of battles won not by numbers, but by intelligence and precision. Meanwhile, humans observed quietly. A small monitoring team aboard a distant outpost noted the cloaked ship's approach. "It's massive, and it's heading toward the neutral zone," the officer reported. Another shook his head. "Do we alert command?" The reply was calm, almost unnerving. "Let it come. The humans will handle it." The galaxy watched as the shadow in space continued its silent advance. Signals were sent to every nearby system, warning of the approaching anomaly. But as the hours passed, the sense of fear only grew. Some fleets tried to maneuver into positions of power, while others attempted to hide, hoping the ship would ignore them. On the bridge of Resolute, Aiden Core tapped a sequence into the ship's console. The human fleet was ready, though not a single shot had been fired. Their reputation alone carried weight across the stars. "It's coming," he said softly, almost to himself. "And soon, the galaxy will learn what we are capable of." As the cloaked ship approached, small alien patrols sent to intercept it vanished without a trace. Communications went dark. Reports of strange energy fluctuations spread panic. In council chambers, alien leaders argued and shouted, "It's too powerful, we can't fight it head-on." Yet humans remained calm. They had anticipated this moment, prepared for the impossible. Every ship, every system, every maneuver was part of a larger plan, one designed to protect their colonies, assert their strength, and remind the galaxy that humans were no longer the species to be ignored. The tension in space grew almost unbearable. Every fleet waited, every sensor strained, every captain's hand hovered over weapons. And then, as the human dreadnought slipped closer to the neutral sector, it began to decloak. Light reflected off its massive hull, glinting like a black diamond in the void. Alien admirals gasped, their fear confirmed. No one had imagined a ship of this size, of this precision, moving so silently and deliberately. The legends were real. The galaxy held its breath. The fragile piece, already delicate, hung by a thread. In that moment, the humans revealed themselves, not with words, not with threats, but with sheer presence. Their dreadnought loomed larger than any ship the galaxy had ever seen, and every alien fleet knew that the balance of power had shifted forever. A soft, confident voice came over the communications channels, calm and unwavering. "We have arrived," it said. And in that single statement, the galaxy understood that nothing would ever be the same again. The galaxy had never seen a ship like it. The human dreadnought hung in space, massive and silent, its hull reflecting starlight like a dark jewel. Alien fleets scrambled, sensors scanning, weapons ready, but nothing could hide their fear. They had underestimated humans for too long, and now the truth was undeniable. In the distant command tower of the Zalari Empire, Admiral Therrell stared at the screens in disbelief. It shouldn't exist. It's impossible. How can a single ship have this much power? His officers were silent, their usual confidence gone. Some muttered about ancient legends, stories of human weapons so advanced that entire fleets could be destroyed in minutes. Therrell did not want to believe it, but the evidence was before him. The dreadnought did not move recklessly. It drifted closer to the neutral zone, scanning, observing. Every alien ship that tried to move against it found its communications blocked, its maneuvers predicted. Humans were not rushing into battle. They were waiting, calculating. On board Resolute, Captain Aidan Corr watched every movement of the enemy fleets. His face was calm, almost serene. "They are nervous," he said. "And they should be. Let them make the first mistake." Lieutenant Sarah nodded, fingers flying over the controls as she adjusted sensors to track every alien move. "They are trying to guess our intentions, Captain. They don't understand us yet." Meanwhile, in another sector, smaller patrol ships sent by alien fleets disappeared without a trace. One moment, their sensors reported their positions. The next, all readings vanished. Panic spread like fire. Commanders whispered of cloaking interference, energy anomalies, and impossible maneuvers. But the truth was simpler. Humans had already anticipated every move, every plan, every reaction. The dreadnought decloaked partially at times, just enough for enemy sensors to see its size, and then vanished again, leaving the aliens confused and terrified. "It's a ghost," one Zalari captain muttered. "It moves like it is everywhere at once." Across the galaxy, news of the approaching human ship spread. Smaller empires trembled. Messages were sent, asking for alliances, reinforcements, or advice. Some fleets tried to hide behind planets or asteroids, hoping the humans would ignore them. They did not. Humans were not reckless. They were precise. Every observation, every scan, every slight maneuver showed that nothing in the galaxy could surprise them. In the council chambers of the Vorten Alliance, leaders argued heatedly. "We must strike first," one shouted. "We cannot wait for them to decide our fate." Another leader shook his head, fear in his eyes. "Strike? Do you see what is coming? One ship, one human ship, and we already see what it can do. If we attack, we will be destroyed." Back on Resolute, Aidan smiled faintly. "They are learning the hard way. Fear makes them weak. Patience will make them worse." He paused, eyes narrowing as a sensor flare appeared. A small alien ship had entered range, trying to scan the dreadnought. "Show them a warning," he said quietly. The dreadnought moved. Without firing weapons, its presence alone caused the alien ship to shake violently. Systems failed. Communications went dark. Within minutes, the patrol craft was gone, nothing left but drifting debris. Across the sector, alien fleets saw what had happened, and the panic spread like wildfire. Humans did not celebrate. They did not gloat. They watched, calm and disciplined, as the galaxy reacted in shock and fear. They were demonstrating power, yes, but also control. Every move was a message. Humans were no longer a species to be underestimated. In distant quarters, alien scientists struggled to understand what they were witnessing. "It's as if it predicts everything," one whispered. "We cannot outmaneuver it, we cannot outgun it. How is this possible?" The humans had no intention of immediate destruction. For now, they observed. Their dreadnought moved with precision, gathering information, testing reactions, measuring fear. The galaxy had grown complacent, believing in its power and superiority. Humans would remind them of reality, slowly, deliberately. As darkness spread across the neutral zone, a quiet tension filled every command deck. Fleets waited for orders, fingers hovered over buttons, engines roared in preparation. And above it all, the human dreadnought drifted, silent, watching, waiting. It was not just a ship. It was a statement. Somewhere in the void, Captain Aiden spoke to his crew. "Let them see. Let them feel the truth. The galaxy will remember this day." His words were calm, almost gentle, but their meaning was deadly clear. And in the darkness of space, the aliens realized, what they had thought was a fragile peace was only an illusion. Something had arrived, something they could not control, something that would change everything. The galaxy held its breath. The alien fleets had never experienced fear like this. For weeks, the human dreadnought had drifted closer, silent, invisible at times, untouchable. And now, it was about to reveal itself fully. Across the neutral zone, sensors flared as the massive ship began to decloak completely. Light glinted off its immense hull, metal plates arranged with precision that only humans could design. Alien admirals froze. The size alone was unimaginable. It was larger than any warship they had built, stronger than the combined fleets of many minor empires, and moving with terrifying calm. Admiral Therrell's hands shook as he stared at the view screen. It cannot be real," he whispered. Officers around him avoided eye contact, each one feeling the cold grip of fear. Every prediction, every strategy they had imagined, fell apart in an instant. On board Resolute, Captain Aiden Core watched the reaction with quiet satisfaction. His voice was calm as he addressed the bridge crew. "They see it now. The truth is unavoidable. Every move they made, every calculation, they underestimated us. Always." The dreadnought didn't need to rush. It moved with deliberate precision, sliding between alien ships, analyzing their formations, scanning their weapon systems. Its presence alone disrupted their strategies. Communications failed, engines faltered, and panic spread through the fleets. The aliens realized too late that they had never faced humans like this. In the front lines, a Vorton battleship attempted a bold strike, launching a salvo of energy bolts. Sensors on the dreadnought predicted the attack moments before it happened. With a slight tilt of its massive hull, the human ship deflected the assault, sending the energy back toward the Vorton fleet. Explosions lit the void as the first major alien ship disintegrated. Alarm sirens blared across the alien command towers. "They're destroying our ships without even engaging fully," one officer yelled. "How is this possible?" Humans did not celebrate. They observed with clinical precision. Each movement was part of a larger strategy: control, intimidation, and careful assessment of every alien tactic. They were not reckless. They were perfect predators in a galaxy that had grown arrogant. Captain Aiden's eyes narrowed as he monitored a small fleet attempting to flank the dreadnought. "Let them try," he said softly. "Let them see their mistakes before it's too late." The human fleet adjusted subtly, cutting off escape routes without firing a single shot. The aliens could sense their trap too late. Panic spread as one after another, alien ships were disabled, their weapon systems fried, their engines failing. In distant worlds, news of the dreadnought's appearance reached civilian populations. Fear and awe gripped every sector. Rumors had always existed about human weapons and cunning, but now, every story seemed too small, too weak. The humans were not just powerful, they were unstoppable, and they had arrived with calm certainty. Within the chaos, A quiet transmission came from the Dreadnought. Calm, confident, almost chilling. Cease hostilities and retreat, or suffer the consequences. Every word was deliberate, every syllable carrying the weight of death. The alien commanders heard it and understood instantly that it was no bluff. Some tried to flee, some tried to fight. All failed. Human tactics, combined with the overwhelming strength of the Dreadnought, made resistance useless. Ships fell silently in the dark, systems exploding, crews destroyed, fleets shattered. The galaxy had never seen such precise, terrifying power focused in a single vessel. Captain Aiden did not smile. He simply observed. His crew knew their role. Every scan, every adjustment, every maneuver was done with efficiency, with focus, with purpose. Humans had arrived not just to fight, but to dominate, to show the galaxy that their time had come. And as the smoke of destroyed alien ships drifted across the neutral zone, Admiral Therill realized a terrible truth. They are not like us. They are not like any species we know. They cannot be negotiated with. They cannot be stopped. In that moment, the fragile peace that had held the galaxy together shattered. The human Dreadnought had decloaked, and with it, the balance of power changed forever. Fear replaced confidence, caution replaced arrogance, and every empire, large or small, began to understand that humans were no longer to be underestimated. The Dreadnought hovered silently, a massive shadow in space, its sensors observing every reaction, every trembling ship. It was not just a weapon, it was a message. And the galaxy, for the first time in centuries, knew that peace would no longer be the same. The galaxy was in chaos. News of the human Dreadnought's full decloak spread faster than any message had before. Panic gripped every empire, from the smallest trade worlds to the largest military fleets. Alien admirals who had once held the confidence of centuries now trembled before a single ship. Across the neutral zone, fleets tried to regroup. Sensors flared, weapons charged, and commanders shouted orders in desperation. "Converge on the human ship," one cried. "We cannot let it move freely." Others hesitated, unsure if the attempt would be suicidal. Every calculation seemed useless. Every move the aliens made had already been predicted, anticipated, and countered. Captain Aiden Core watched calmly from Resolute. "Let them try," he said. "Every mistake they make will teach them the cost of underestimating us." His crew moved with quiet precision, adjusting shields, analyzing enemy formations, and calculating the perfect angles for every maneuver. Humans were not rushing. They were controlling the battlefield without firing more than a warning. The first alien fleet charged. Massive cruisers surged forward, energy weapons glowing bright, hoping to overwhelm the Dreadnought with sheer numbers. For a moment, the void seemed alive with deadly light. But the humans did not panic. With a subtle shift, the Dreadnought's shields absorbed and reflected, redirecting energy back at the attackers. Ships exploded silently, disintegrating in clouds of debris. Alien admirals screamed into their communications, trying to organize retreats, call reinforcements, or demand backup. None of it worked. Their ships faltered under human tactics that seemed impossible. Fleets that were considered the pride of empires were destroyed or disabled in minutes. Fear became chaos. In other sectors, smaller empires watched the battle unfold. Some tried to flee, hiding behind planets or through asteroid fields. Others debated sending their fleets to help, but hesitation won over courage. Every decision was paralyzed by the knowledge that humans were not just powerful, they were precise, unpredictable, and unstoppable. A human strike group, smaller than a single alien fleet, moved with deadly efficiency. They targeted engines, weapons, and command systems. No unnecessary destruction, no chaos, just complete control. Alien ships found themselves trapped in a web of calculated attacks, unable to escape, unable to respond. The galaxy had never seen warfare like this. Captain Aiden spoke again, quietly. "Fear is contagious. Let it spread." The crew understood immediately. Every adjustment, every scan, every minor movement was part of a psychological battle as much as a physical one. Humans were not only destroying fleets, They were breaking the confidence of an entire galaxy. On board the command ship of the Zalari Empire, Admiral Therrell stared at the unfolding disaster. His fleets were in ruins. Communication with distant allies was impossible. Ships were lost before they could even fire. They are not like us, he whispered, voice shaking. Nothing can stop them. Nothing can predict them. Nothing. Even as panic spread, humans maintained calm. Their ships moved with discipline, never overextending, never making mistakes. They were hunters in the void, patient, watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Every move by the aliens only confirmed the humans' dominance. By the time the battle ended, dozens of alien ships were destroyed, hundreds more disabled. The fleets that had once controlled entire sectors of space were scattered, retreating, or hiding. The human dreadnought hovered above the neutral zone like a silent god, unchallenged, untouchable, observing the trembling remnants of its enemies. Across the galaxy, leaders whispered in fear. Humans were no longer a minor power. They had demonstrated that strategy, discipline, and advanced technology could topple empires. The fragile peace that had existed only moments before was gone. The message was clear: humans were in control now, whether the galaxy wanted to admit it or not. And in the darkness of space, the human dreadnought waited. Not for orders, not for aggression, but for understanding. The galaxy had been shown a truth it could not ignore. Humans were no longer the underdogs. They were the rulers of their fate, and the rest of the galaxy would have to learn to respect, or fear, them. The silence after the battle was deafening. Alien ships limped back to their stations, crews shaken and uncertain. The humans did not pursue further. For now, the message had been delivered. Power was no longer an illusion. It was real, it was human, and it had just arrived in full force. The galaxy would remember this day. Every commander, every diplomat, every soldier would speak of it for generations. And above it all, the human dreadnought floated, immense and silent, a reminder that the era of underestimating humans was over. The galaxy had finally realized that humans were different. Alien fleets had been broken, retreating, and their commanders were left shaken to the core. Across countless worlds, leaders argued, whispered, and feared. The human dreadnought had shown strength, precision, and control, but it had not destroyed everything. It had sent a message, and now the question remained: what would humans do next? On board Resolute, Captain Aidan Core reviewed reports from the sensors. Every destroyed or disabled ship had been accounted for. No humans had been lost. Not a single crew member had panicked. Humans were calm, disciplined, and deadly. He turned to his officers, voice steady. We are not here to slaughter. We are here to show them the cost of underestimating humanity. Let them decide their next move wisely. Lieutenant Sarah nodded, eyes scanning the readings. They're sending messages, Captain. Every major empire is trying to negotiate, pleading for terms, or begging for mercy. Aidan smiled faintly. Good. Let them learn the value of caution. He typed a sequence into the console, sending a transmission across the neutral zone. The message was simple, clear, and firm. Cease hostilities. Withdraw your fleets. Respect human space, or face destruction. Across the galaxy, the alien leaders received the message and felt the weight of it immediately. Some argued fiercely for resistance, claiming they could still fight. Others, terrified by what they had seen, begged for peace. The human dreadnought had given them a choice, but the choice was not easy. To resist meant almost certain death. To obey meant acknowledging human power. In the command towers of the Zalari Empire, Admiral Therrell rubbed his face. They are not asking for peace as a suggestion. They are demanding it as a fact, he said. Officers around him nodded, fear written clearly in their eyes. Every fleet, every capital ship, every soldier now understood the truth. Humans had arrived not as equals, but as rulers. Even smaller empires, who had remained neutral until now, felt the pressure. Trade routes were rerouted, fleets were recalled, and ambassadors hurried to send their messages. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long, and now it was paying the price. On board the Dreadnought, humans moved with calm precision. Weapons were ready, but not fired. Scans were constant, monitoring every move, every energy signature. Humans were patient. They had the power to destroy any fleet in moments, but their goal was not destruction. It was respect, fear, and a clear demonstration that humans could protect themselves. Aiden leaned over the console, eyes fixed on the alien fleets. "Notice how fear spreads faster than bullets," he said softly. "It's more effective than any weapon." His crew watched silently, knowing their captain spoke the truth. Every fleet trying to resist was frozen by uncertainty, their coordination collapsing under the sheer presence of human strategy. For the first time, the galaxy began to see a pattern in human tactics. They were not reckless. They did not fight for glory or conquest. Every move, every strike, every decision was calculated, precise, and disciplined. They sought not chaos, but order, and any empire that ignored them would pay the cost. The alien leaders were forced to make choices. Some withdrew their fleets immediately, surrendering control of sectors they had once considered untouchable. Others debated for hours, but eventually, fear outweighed pride. Messages of compliance, apologies, and negotiation began to flow to human command centers. Captain Aiden studied each transmission carefully. They are learning. They are realizing that humans are not to be ignored. He paused, then added, "And they will not forget." The Dreadnought did not leave immediately. It hovered in the neutral zone, a silent sentinel, letting the galaxy absorb the lesson. Fear, respect, and awe spread across the stars. Humans had arrived, not just to fight, but to assert control through intelligence, strategy, and power. And as silence settled over the battlefields, the galaxy understood a new truth: humans would not be defeated, underestimated, or ignored again. The fragile peace that had existed before now depended on one thing: the willingness of the galaxy to accept human power. In that moment, the Dreadnought became more than a ship. It became a symbol, a warning, and a promise. Humans had declared themselves fully, and the galaxy had no choice but to acknowledge it. For the first time in centuries, fear replaced arrogance, and caution replaced recklessness. The humans had not destroyed the galaxy, they had changed it. And the message was clear: respect humanity, or face consequences you cannot imagine. The galaxy was trembling. Alien fleets that had once acted with confidence now hesitated, unsure of what to do. Orders conflicted, plans fell apart, and trust between allied commanders crumbled. The humans had not destroyed everything, but they had done something far more dangerous. They had shown the galaxy what real power looked like, and no one could ignore it. Captain Aiden Core watched the chaos from Resolute. His eyes scanned the sensor feeds, noting every hesitation, every failed maneuver. "They are breaking themselves," he said softly. "Fear spreads faster than fleets." Lieutenant Sarah glanced at him, tense but attentive. "Should we strike again?" she asked. Aiden shook his head. "Not yet. Let them decide. We have the advantage. Let them fracture before we act." Humans understood the value of patience. They did not rush, but when the time came, their precision would be unstoppable. In the command halls of the Vorten Alliance, arguments erupted. Some admirals argued for retreat, pleading to preserve what remained of their fleets. Others demanded resistance, claiming they could still rally, still fight back. But hesitation had already set in. Fear was contagious, and doubt poisoned their decision-making. Fleets that had once operated as a unit were now scattered, commanders unsure if their allies would support them. Across the void, the human Dreadnought remained calm. Its sensors detected every move, every weak signal, every tremor of fear. And then, as if the timing were perfect, additional human ships began to decloak from hyperspace. They were smaller, faster, and nearly as deadly, moving in perfect formation. The alien fleets froze, realizing that the first Dreadnought was only the beginning. "Additional ships, Captain," Sarah reported. "They are joining us from multiple sectors." Aiden nodded. "Good. Let them see the scale of human power. Let them understand that resistance is useless." The alien commanders scrambled to respond. Panic spread through their ranks as human ships appeared in positions they had thought safe. Every attempt to regroup was countered with precision. Fleets collided with invisible barriers of strategy, unable to coordinate, unable to escape. One by one, alien ships were disabled or forced to retreat. In distant worlds, leaders shouted orders, tried to hide assets, and desperately sent messages. But humans did not act recklessly. They were demonstrating strength, not annihilation. Every movement, every display of power, was carefully calculated to break confidence and command respect. Admiral Therrell, watching from the Zalari Empire's command tower, realized the horrifying truth. They are not just one ship. They are everywhere. Their fleets arrive faster than we can react, and they anticipate our every move. We cannot win. We cannot fight them as we have fought before. Back on Resolute, Aiden's voice was calm, almost gentle. Fear is the tool. Power is the proof. Let them fracture under both. The Dreadnought and its accompanying ships moved with unmatched coordination, cutting off retreat paths, surrounding isolated fleets, and forcing alien commanders to make impossible choices. The galaxy watched as alliances cracked. Some fleets turned on each other, desperate to survive. Others surrendered without a fight. The human forces allowed limited retreats, reinforcing the lesson that defiance was possible, but costly. Every decision reinforced a single point. Humans were not just strong, they were unstoppable when united, and strategic when necessary. By the time the dust settled, the neutral zone had been claimed. Scattered fleets limped away, battered and broken. The humans had not destroyed the galaxy, but they had reshaped it. The fragile balance of power had shifted, and every empire knew it. Humans had proven their dominance without losing a single life unnecessarily. Captain Aiden looked across the bridge, his crew calm and disciplined. "Let them talk to each other," he said. "Let them decide their next move. We have already won the first battle, the rest is history waiting to be written." The galaxy understood a new truth. Humans were not merely another power. They were a force beyond prediction, beyond fear, and beyond arrogance. And as the Dreadnought and its supporting ships disappeared back into hyperspace, the galaxy held its breath, knowing that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was silent, but the silence was heavy. Alien fleets that had once roamed confidently through space now moved cautiously, retreating to their home systems, shaken and uncertain. The humans had demonstrated power beyond imagination, and every empire understood that the balance of power had shifted forever. On board the human Dreadnought Resolute, Captain Aiden Core observed the galaxy through the main viewport. Stars stretched across the void, but his mind was on the fleets, the empires, and the message they would carry forever. Humans had not conquered through sheer destruction, but through precision, strategy, and undeniable strength. Fear had done what weapons alone could not. Lieutenant Sarah monitored the remaining alien communications. "Many are surrendering, Captain. Some are asking for treaties. Others, they are just silent, too afraid to speak." Aiden nodded. "Good. Let them understand the cost of underestimating humanity. Let the galaxy remember this day." From the Dreadnought, humans sent messages to every empire, every fleet, every planet within the neutral zone. They were not threats, not demands, they were statements of fact. Human space is protected. Humans will defend themselves. Respect our presence, or face consequences beyond imagination. The tone was calm, confident, and absolute. Every leader who received the message knew it was true. The galaxy slowly began to adjust. Smaller empires began sending ambassadors to negotiate, offering treaties, tribute, or alliances. Larger empires retreated, reassessing their fleets and strategies. Fear was still widespread, but it was paired with a grudging respect. Humans had arrived as underdogs, underestimated by all, but they now ruled through intellect, discipline, and power that could not be ignored. Captain Aiden turned to his crew, eyes calm. "We have not won everything, but we have won the respect of the galaxy. And that is far more valuable than destruction." The crew nodded. They had been trained for war, for chaos, for battle. But what they had accomplished was more than victory. They had proven humanity's place among the stars. As humans withdrew their ships from the neutral zone, alien fleets dared not follow. The Dreadnought and its supporting ships moved through hyperspace silently, leaving a galaxy forever changed. Across sectors, stories spread of the humans who arrived like ghosts, struck with precision, and left with calm authority. The legends would grow, and fear would last for generations. On board Resolute, Aiden gazed into the darkness. Let them learn caution. Let them learn respect. Humanity does not seek war, but it will not be ignored. The ship glided through space, silent and imposing, a symbol of what humans could achieve when united, disciplined, and determined. And in the quiet of the void, one truth remained. Humans had arrived not just as a species, but as a force. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. The Dreadnought had decloaked, and with it, humanity had declared that it would never be underestimated again. Stars shone in the distance, but the shadow of human power stretched further than anyone could see. Across the galaxy, whispers spread, treaties shifted, and fleets trembled. The era of humans had begun, not with conquest, but with a single ship that changed everything. And so, the Dreadnought disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the galaxy in awe, fear, and respect. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.